All right, guys, what's going on? It's Rod the Legendary here, the Legendary Channel, Average Guys Podcast. For average guys like you and like me, trying to make it happen, trying to make a better life for ourselves and for the ones we love. Today, guys, I want to talk about some things that have been on my mind for some time. First off, I made this channel for legendary guys like myself and like you all, average guys that are out here, the backbone of our society, right? The guys that drive the trucks, the guys that weld the ships, the guys that man the ships, the guys that ship the freight, right? The guys that work the long, hard hours, the post office guys, like the one that just passed me by, right? The ones that provide the convenience that we all forget. We all tend to forget that we have due to the hardworking men of this nation when we spout things like toxic masculinity and so on and so forth. This channel's for those guys, right? Guys who feel like they're not being heard. I understand you. I hear you. At times in my life, I felt like I wasn't being heard. You know, I've had run-ins with women, men, right? Tell you that the naysayers, right? You're not doing things right, or this isn't gonna work for you because you're too this, that, and the third, whatever. Hey, I hear them and I keep it pushing because I'm getting the results in my life that I want. Okay, that's what I want for you all as well, right? The wife and the kids, if that's what you want, right? The bachelor life, if that's what you want, right? I don't know a whole lot about that bachelor life, but I can point you in the direction of some individuals that do. Okay, I mean, hey, bottom line is, as a man, you control your own destiny, right? We shape the world. We've always done that. Humanity's strongest evolutionary trait was the ability to modify the world around us. And that has, for so long, been done by men. None other than men. And that's not to discredit any ladies that have made contribution. But by and large, men built the world and all the luxuries that we see around us. That being said, it's time for us to reclaim what we've lost, fellas. It's identity. What it is to be a man. What is it to be a man, right? Is it toxic to be masculine? Fellas, you know what I'm saying? Is it toxic to be masculine? So often we hear toxic masculinity. You ask them to define that. It's a man who is overly aggressive, overly assertive, right? Commanding, domineering, right? Most times he's built a certain way, right? He's got a certain amount of muscle, a certain amount of pride, certain amount of drive, certain lack of care, right? And this is deemed toxic. But what's funny is that the same people that call it toxic are the same ones that mostly and predominantly consume it, right? If men are so toxic, then why do women always find themselves in toxic relationships with toxic men? Then they teach us and they preach to us that they don't want us to be toxic. They want us to be more soft, more understanding, more feminine, for lack of a better term. I mean, it just is what that is. They want us to be more like them, right? More patient, more nurturing, right? These are all feminine qualities. They reproduce then with the most masculine of us, and then they want the most feminine of us to raise their children. You guys see the trend it's just as obvious to you all as it is to me. So what is it to be masculine? It is everything that they claim it to be. But why add the additional toxicity? That's the problem. That's the trouble I have with the definition of masculinity. Whatever happened to chivalrous? Whatever happened to security, provision, Whatever happened to the respect that men used to get for what is now considered toxic? What happened to the women that appreciated us toxic, toxically masculine men? We can go on and on about how we got here. I'm not here to do that. What I'm here to do is to remind men what the hell we are. We're men, damn it. We're gonna be that. Ways you can become a better man. Got a little bit of a list here. Try to make so I can be as concise as possible. You know, we are all busy. First and foremost, you guys, you want to educate yourselves. Okay? YouTube, fellas. It's really going to be one of your best friends. And what's interesting now that I just recently found out, and I'm not sure how long it's had it, but you can actually watch videos in double time. Means I can get twice the watching done in half the time. Fellas, YouTube's going to be your best friend. I learned how to do so many things just watching YouTube. I taught myself how to play guitar. I learned how to play music on YouTube. Most of the facts, if I'm ever spouting facts at you, people that know me, if I'm ever spouting facts, more than likely YouTube. There's plenty of content creators, doctors, lawyers. If you're having trouble with your health and you want to figure it out, Dr. Ken Berry is a big one. I love watching his program. You've got if you want to get fit, there's guys online that talk about that, and I'm gonna touch on some of that sort of thing as well. Fitness, health, anything you want to find is on YouTube, fellas. A lot of guys I have conversations with, where mostly it's been involving money and investing. And I ask guys about things like stocks, options, or I might go off into what is an IRA, Roth versus traditional, I might talk about, the real estate and what's going on with the federal government right now as far as the interest rate hikes. And most people don't have a clue. Don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And guys, you cannot be that unknowing and exist in the world. Again, listen to the rhetoric spouted by females, typically by women, right? Predominantly by females, and now men, but we call those men simps. You listen to that rhetoric, then yeah, you'll sit there and live your life unknowing, uncaring, no drive, right? Get over it. Get over it. As a man, you got to get out there and grind, dude, or nobody's going to respect you. I, for one, don't have respect for men that don't have any drive, guys. Ignorance is on my radar. Don't be dumb. Know something, right? I'm having a conversation with you. You tell me you have no idea what I'm talking about. Shame on you. Shame on you. Some of you guys, my 5-year-old knows more about the stock market than you do. Shame on you. And I'm serious about that. Shame. Educate yourselves, fellas. It's all there. Other ways I use, other methods I use to educate myself, books. I'm a really, really slow reader. I mean, excruciatingly slow. But I do not, so I don't ever spend my time. I don't ever spend my time reading fiction, guys. I read nonfiction only. Educational nonfiction only, okay? I don't waste my time in books that are fiction. I watch anime for that. There's all sorts of faster delivery methods of bullshit if I want to consume bullshit. I do not read it because I'm too damn slow. I spend my time, if I'm going to be in a book, I'm going to read. I'm going to spend my time reading something educational. I've delved into 48 Laws of Power recently. Right now I'm dealing with Keto, a book called Keto is Life, which I found in the Walmart thrift bin, clearance bin, because people just don't consume educational literature in that way. And it was $5, so I picked it up. whatever. I'm on keto. I figured I'd just give it a read. I already know most of what the book's gonna tell me anyway. YouTube. But fellas, books, sometimes books contain information that isn't produced or you won't find on YouTube. So in this book, I found out a few different things about how we can gauge an expected longevity in men versus women. They actually used a mile run for that. There's a certain time limit that you have to beat in order that they would say that, hey, this person has a stronger likelihood or probability of living to become an 85-year-old individual, right? So many push-ups. They I didn't realize you could gauge someone's longevity on push-up capability. Can you do 40 push-ups? So there are things in books, fine details and research studies that maybe didn't make it past someone else's, filter to wind up on YouTube. So books, guys. I got CNBC written here. Media outlets can be troublesome at times, right? We're worried typically about whether or not a media source is biased, right? Which every media source will be to some degree biased. Every media, including my own, right, including this channel, is gonna be biased in some regard, okay? Because it's filtered through my human consciousness and then delivered to you. If you want hard facts, the best thing you're gonna be able to do is find the hard facts and stick to them. I watch CNBC. CNBC is a media outlet that pretty much, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know anything existed beyond Fox News and CNN, MSNBC, all your typical news sources, news outlets, right? I didn't know CNBC existed until 2 years ago when I started dealing with stocks and options. I started to research and I found a channel that did nothing sun up to sundown but talk about money. Now you can say whether or not they're biased and whatever, I don't care. All they're doing is talking about money. I could care less with the political rhetoric that's sometimes spouted, the commercials that may be left leaning. I don't care about none of that. They're talking about money. We can talk money all day. And we can be on different sides of the political spectrum. It doesn't matter to me. We're talking money. Money's unbiased. The charts going up and down, that's not fictional. You can't manipulate that with your words. Look at the charts, and if you feel like they're being manipulative, just watch them for the data. But find a source of media. Like I said, CNBC is the best I got. If y'all find anything better, comment. You can go to C-SPAN. A lot of times C-SPAN, I remember this old channel that when I was a kid, you just flip on by it because you see a whole bunch of old folks in a room making policy that don't really pertain to me because I'm 13 and I don't give a shit about that, and I'm trying to watch Courage Scarlet Dog or whatever the hell was on back then, So, but C-SPAN will bring you right in to the, I believe it's into the Senate hearings, where you can sit there and listen to them have the debates right there on the floor. Okay, and so you find you a decent media outlet. Be tapped into your social medias. You do want to do that as well. Your Facebook. If you ask me, every man needs a social media presence. Taps them in. Not only does it link you into what's going on around the world. I mean, you have access to women, which is an obvious plus for me. But it does tap you into at least what a small sample of the population is thinking. If you're like me, you've kept almost every friend who has not deleted their page or deleted me for whatever reason that may be. I'm still in contact with almost 1,000 people that I've met since the beginning of social media, and even some that I knew prior to the existence of social media that I was able to reconnect with, right? And I can actually get some sort of feedback on what I think and get some kind of information on what people think in general, right? So your media outlets, guys. It's gonna be critical in the development of yourself as a male, in my opinion. But less important than, of course, your YouTube and your books. All right. So after you've educated yourself, the next thing is to execute, guys. Now, some guys will, maybe content creators, I don't know, but some people will tell you the next stage is to plan. I caution, not against planning, but I caution that stage of planning, because what happens is a lot of guys start doing this right here, getting that planning phase, and those wheels start spinning. Start spinning wheels, you can't get stuck out the mud, right? I caution against the planning period, because during the education period, as most frequently happens with me, while I'm educating myself, I'm planning as well. During the process of educating myself, and I don't know if it happens with other people, but during the process of educating myself, I've become more adept in the ability to plan or figure out how things can apply. I don't know how I do it. I would imagine sometimes I take pause after reading a paragraph or a couple pages, and then I try to see, well, how does that pertain to me as an individual? How can I utilize that, which I've just learned? Okay, so I caution against the planning period. I say, once you've educated yourself, guys, you gotta go ahead and do the work now, right? For instance, you learn that doing incline bench press is going to increase your upper pectoral muscle, and that's what you've been wanting to work on. There's no planning for that. Go hit it. Go get it. Go do it. Day in, day out, and see what happens. If it doesn't work, what have you done? Wasted energy? Similarly, and it works that way with money as well. You got you a decent income, fellas. You're working that job that nobody else wants to work. You're doing that thing that nobody else wants to do, that you're getting good pay for it. You're getting good pay for it. Then you can take the risk that the other person can't. You can waste the money, the capital. You've got the capital, right? You're living below your means, fellas. You got the capital. Go ahead and give it a shot. See if it works. More than likely, if you've done good research and your sources are reliable, what you're endeavoring toward will be prosperous. So don't sit around, okay? Watching too much YouTube, and this kind of is a good segue from the topic of spinning wheels, right? Don't sit around too much, right? And involving yourself in man porn, right? Watch a video like the one I'm producing, or like other content creators might produce, right? But don't get stuck not doing anything but watching us, right? Hear what we have to say. Listen to us regularly. Like and subscribe. Like what I did there, right? Like and subscribe, but pay us a visit from time to time, see what we're talking about, but get it done. Go out in the world and get it done, fellas. It's not enough to just hear us. It's not enough to just listen. It's not enough to just read the book. It's not enough to just, you understand where I'm going? It's not enough to just know the information. You have to go out there and apply it. All right, so don't spend too much time spinning your wheels, guys. Let's get it. Let's get it done. Let's go. Let's move. If you have the knowledge, you got to use it. All right. Leads me on to my next topic. Avoid sedations, guys. Okay. There's obvious sedations. Obvious sedations include drugs, alcohol, okay, sex, video games, pornography, things like that. Rollo Tomassi says it the best, right? You see that pornography is free, right? And you're gonna sit there and not question why it's free, right? I mean, back when I was a kid, you had to either purchase Playboy, Hustler, Penthouse, and if you didn't purchase the magazine itself, you had to have a subscription to go on to their specific channel in DirecTV or whatever your parents used, whatever. Of course, I didn't have any money of my own, so I had no access. But now pornography is free, which means it's accessible to anyone. And smartphones exist, which means it's accessible to minors. And you think the world doesn't know that? You think this is not done by design? So there's a sedation that, if you indulge in too much, will leave you complacent. You guys know just as much as I do. Y'all understand post-nut clarity. Post-nut clarity. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Leaves you laying there, sleepy, passed out. Don't overindulge in anything like that, fellas. Whether it's sex or pornography. Drugs and alcohol, that should be obvious. You drink too much, smoke too much. A lot of people smoking reefer. What does it do? It's a sedation, fellas. It makes you complacent. I've smoked. I've drank in the past. I still drink now. I do not smoke anymore. My job doesn't allow for it. But in the past, I had indulged. And I remember when I smoked pot, the first thing I noticed, and it's perhaps the most apparent effect of marijuana, is the fact that I wanted to be kind. That's the way I wanted to be polite, kind to everyone. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily a bad thing, except there are extremes to every feeling, every idea, every feeling that we have. There's extremes to it. And the extreme, when as we're referring to kindness, is ultimately complacency. This is what I found. You got a lot of guys that argue, they smoke weed all day long, and they can go out and do whatever. Okay, hey, that's for them. I found that it didn't work like that for me. Maybe you want to sit back and chill. Maybe you want to relax. I didn't want to get up and do much. And alcohol, it's obvious. You can't do anything when you're drinking alcohol. You can't do anything. I can't drive a semi-truck. That's illegal, first and foremost. But even if it was legal, it'd be more likely that I would end up killing myself doing something like that, right? Can't operate heavy equipment on alcohol, right? And aside from the damages that these substances provide your body, so you got sedations that you should then avoid. Now, those are obvious sedations, but then you've got less obvious sedations, and there's really only one that came to my mind, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that, right? And that less obvious sedation, and perhaps the least obvious of any sedation that I've ever known, unless they're putting something in the hot water supply, which I don't know about, right? And that's a joke, not an actual speculation. The most lethal sedation is superstition. Superstition. This includes any belief that cannot be validated or verified objectively. I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't want to have a religious debate with anyone. I don't follow any religious tradition. I don't. If I cannot verify why I should be living the lifestyle that I'm living using facts, data, statistics, or science, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. It would be a waste of my time. For all of you who want to challenge that notion, my life is going how I wanted to go. for all your superstition is yours, right? So, and the reason I chose to move away from superstitious belief, right, is because I felt, and this was the earliest thought I had, right? I felt that, one, there was no objective reality surrounding any superstition I'd ever understood. Y'all remember that one, and remember this one, and you're gonna laugh at this, but remember this one where they said, don't walk under a ladder or it means bad luck, or don't step on a crack, break your mama's back. Y'all remember that, right? That shit ain't, I mean, guys, but how many of us avoided the ladder or the crack, right? Silly shit, right? And, but we still live as though if we just say the right thing to the universe, if we just say the right stuff out into the air where no one can hear you, just in the private of your own home, it's gonna have some effect on our reality. It's not how things work, guys. Some of y'all are realizing that, as I did when I was 20-something years old. I mean, you know, a lot of you felt like there was something wrong with traditional superstition and traditional beliefs. I'm not calling out anyone in particular, but you realized that there was something wrong with it. You fell off into another one, which I warned against. Some of the people that know me personally that decided, hey, maybe this religion wasn't for them. And I told them, well, be careful not to fall into another that may not be one of the more widely accepted religions, but operates under the same superstitious vibe, for lack of a better word, right? So you got to be careful, because what those things will do, and the reason we're talking about it because it's sedation. The reason it's a sedation, it'll have you doing things that don't actually move anything. Similar to spinning your wheels, right? You'll be sitting there wasting your time doing whatever they're telling you to do. Nowadays, it's, I can't make this stuff up. Nowadays, it's spirit rocks, moon water, and Taurus and Libra and all that kind of, the alignment of the stars in the universe. And man, you can't make this. It's real, and people believe that stuff. But if you're a man, you don't have time to believe in that stuff. You sit there and believe in that, and then you wonder why you're not getting results in your real life. Guys, come on. And is that really fooling you fellas? Or, I mean, come on, it's not. You know better. It's not fooling you. Just like it ain't fooling me. I'm just, well, man enough to go against the common ethos floating around at any particular given time, and I go with what makes sense. Now, what makes sense may in fact be something that somebody else believes as well, but it's not necessarily the other way around. Just because the majority believe in the thing, I'm not gonna necessarily go with that. Now, if it don't make no sense, not if it don't make no sense, no. So you gotta watch out. Watch out for these superstitions, guys. Watch out for those things that are gonna make you sit still and do nothing when you should be getting out here and doing everything, right? And it leads me into my final topic for today. Don't believe the lies, right? Along with the lies that they tell you regarding superstition, religion, so on and so forth. If you just do this, if you just say this, if you just whisper this in your closet, then you'll have a result, right? Along with those lies, they also tell you that, and I hinted on this earlier in the video, this masculinity is toxic. I guess you can afford to say that, right? In the world we live in today, okay? They cite things like aggression being a problem. They cite things like male sexuality and our, I guess you could call it, I don't want to say polygamous mentality, but the idea that we could potentially have sex with more than one woman and it not really affect us psychologically. And thus some men in fact do decide to go that route, and others like myself choose the monogamous route. I'm married. I've been with the same woman for 12 years. We've been married for 9. And they'll say your sexuality. Listen, guys, there's nothing inherently evil about being a man, and I mean being a traditional man, right? Being the type of person that, see, women want us to. Really, what's going on is that feminine speculation, just like masculine speculation would. Okay, I'll put it like this: when a human has an idea, they typically believe that other people believe the same thing, right? I forget what they call that, but it's some type of fallacy, right? Now, just because I think it doesn't necessarily mean you think it, and vice versa, right? Well, what happens when you blend sexes? Similar, right? A lot of people believe in this equalitarian, I believe they call it, correct me if I'm wrong, but believe we're all born equal, all right? But as it pertains to our mentalities, right? But men and women, honestly, guys, it couldn't be. We're wired differently, right? Our biology is simple. I mean, I produce more testosterone than she does. That's a chemical that affects the brain. If that's true, and I produce what? What's the ratio, guys? Somebody in the comment section, but 80-20 testosterone and estrogen in men, and I bet you it's stronger than that. And then women producing like 15% of testosterone, where the rest is estrogen. Guys, that's gonna affect the way we think. And men are typically more stoic, and when pushed to anger or sadness, we don't react with tears. Typically, we react with aggression. Now, that doesn't mean you gotta hit anything, but the point still stands that we're gonna emote differently. And guys, they'll tell you that's toxic, but it's not. It's not. Violence is not the answer. You don't want to be violent physically, and if you can help it, you don't want to be violent mentally with anyone. But then everyone has their idea about what threshold constitutes mental aggression or violence. So I'm not gonna go there, but what I will say is that the fact is, men ain't gonna sit there and cry to no female. If you're a man of any type of status, you're not gonna waste your time. You're gonna say your piece, and you're gonna move on with it. Okay, we're not crying to women around here. We act differently, fundamentally. This is how we are. And back to what I was saying, it's easy to say that masculinity is toxic now. We're not fighting off warthogs or wild cats in the wild somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Or neighboring humans and tribes. Masculinity ain't gonna be so toxic if another country decides to invade. Y'all gonna want us to be aggressive at that time, and we're gonna do what we always do. Reluctantly, we pick up arms and we go and handle our business and protect what we care about, because that's what we're here for. I was talking to a female recently, and she was respectful. It was a good conversation, but she had a point of contention when I said that a man's only job is to provide and protect. Gentlemen, that is all we are built to do. Ladies, I want y'all to hear this too. That is all we are built to do. Okay? We offer you almost no aid besides that. We cannot help you carry a child, though we can bring you food. That's our job. Have you all ever seen a pregnant woman? I don't remember where I heard this from. It might have been a comedian, but somebody said it. A pregnant woman is the most delicate of all human life forms, guys. Besides the baby she's carrying, if you're an adult human, I mean, obese males do better in combat than pregnant women. I mean, come on, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's the most delicate creature in the human species, right? Besides the babies that they're creating. So why do you think that they're able to just be so frail for so long? And the answer, because we exist. We're out here facing the cats that are trying to eat them while they're spending 9 months making a baby, right? They should have that luxury because they're doing the work, right? So that's what we're here for. And she had a point of contention there. She said that's sad, is what she said. She said that's sad. I think she was saying that's sad that I believe that. I don't think she was actually agreeing to me, but then she might have been. Either way, it's not sad. In either case, it's not sad. It just is. I wear this shirt, it says get over it, right? I mean, dude, it just is what it is. That's my only job. Provide, protect. I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. That's gonna sometimes require me to be aggressive. It's sometimes gonna be require me to put my foot down in my own home, even. Right? Type of woman my wife is, she'll accept when I do. And ultimately, men call that submission. Right? And she's not complaining so long as there's food on the table, the bills are getting paid, and she's got access to Netflix. We're good. She got nothing to say. We're fine. Get out there and get it, daddy. I love you. Come home, I get what I want. I mean, hey, guys, you know. So don't believe the lies, fellas. Get out there and get your body right. I'm gonna be real with you on this one. This is first and foremost. If you didn't hear anything I said, start here. Get yourself in shape. Feel like you're not getting enough attention from females? Work out. Work out. Hit the weights, dude. Get your shoulders right. All right? It's going to narrow that jawline down where you can see your cheekbones. And women will respond to that. Then you'll have the energy as well, right? So once you get your endocrine system in check, and I strongly advise some of you guys, you dealing with weight issues with your weight, fellas, I strongly advise you all to try a low carb, and when I say low carb, I mean damn near no carb, if you can help it, ketogenic diet. You'll shed weight like you wouldn't believe, fellas, and you won't have to starve yourself to do so. Testosterone levels will go up, blood pressure comes down. If you got high blood pressure, if you're dealing with anything like that, energy levels go through the roof, and you'll be surprised at what it's going to do to your libido. Hey, but if you're sitting there and you don't look the part, some guys get that right. They'll go ahead and they get jacked up in the gym. All right, then the next phase is let's get that income straight. Let's try to apply ourselves. You know, a lot of guys I talk to. When I describe how it is to be a truck driver, they decide, well, I don't want to do that. Why? Well, because I got to be away from my family. And then the same woman I was talking to, she was telling her man that, you know, I don't require that of you. I don't require you to get out there and do that. You know, if you want to be, I need you around and all this kind of thing and that there. You know what's funny? When I left the house, it is not a shot at my wife at all. I love her. I've been with her for 12 years, but when I left the house, I started getting more respect when I came home just because I was gone. Just because I was gone. And I find that when I spend longer than a week and a half at the house, we start butting heads. I'm not going to try to speculate on why that is, but it's real. It happens. Other guys report it. Other guys report it. Fellas, your woman's telling you to stay home with her. She don't even know that's hurting your relationship. She don't even know. Why do that when you can feed the hunger that is distance? The distance, they always say, makes the heart grow fonder. Y'all gonna ignore that proverb because you want to sit down on your damn ass. Okay, you keep on doing that shit. Well, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna get mine. Then I'm gonna come home and she gonna be missing me because I'm just for the fact that I'm gone. Then I got my body right. Give me a second, I got somebody else.